Picture this. You've just had your Qmatic installed, your dealer has walked out the door, and now you're looking at the screen going, where do I even start? If that's you, then this video is for you. The very first thing you need to do before you even think about loading a design, before you even think about quilting anything, is to set your safe area. Don't know what I'm talking about? Well, watch on. Hi, I'm Lindell from the Quilt Room. I'm a professional long arm quilter of over 10 years and I quilt on a Bernina Q24 and Qmatic every single day. This is the first in a series of short, focused Qmatic videos. One problem, one solution. Don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss the rest of them. Okay, so what actually is the safe area? Think of it as the boundary you set to tell Qmatic exactly where your quilt is on the frame and exactly where it's allowed to stitch, and more importantly, where it's not allowed to stitch. Okay, so let's get on to how we set this safe area. I've got some scrap fabric loaded on the frame, and I'm going to take you over to the computer now. Now, before you do anything else, I want you to make sure that your channel locks are on. And that is these two buttons here. Okay, so if it's loose like that, your channel lock isn't on. So we need it to be upright, and this one as well. If it's moving freely, it's not on. There should be some resistance when you move the machine in either direction. Now I've confirmed the channel locks are on, we can set our safe area. Make sure your quilt is loaded, smoothed, basted, and ready to go before you set the safe area. Now we're going to open Qmatic. That's this button down here. And this is what the Qmatic looks like when you first open it up. It will actually prompt you straight away to create a safe area. Now, firstly, I'm just going to back out of this for a second, just by pressing the back. Or we could also have pressed the red cross button to close that down. The first thing I like to do is actually to change all of these icons to the words. And I can do that by hitting this I button in the top right hand corner. That will change all of those icons to words. I believe some earlier versions of Qmatic do not actually have this option. If that's the case for you, let me know in the comments. To set our safe area, we're going to hit this button in the bottom left-hand corner. The Qmatic has prompted us on the screen to move the sew head to the top left corner. Okay, a couple of things I want to point out here. I've got this machine hard up against the back bar. I don't know if you can see that, but I can't push the machine any further back. What I want to do though is bring it back towards me around an inch or so. And the reason I do that is because as you wind the quilt on, the quilt gets thicker on the back bar. So towards the very end of your quilt, especially if it's a big quilt, you won't be able to get the machine all the way back to there. So telling the Bernina Q-matic that your safe area is hard up against the back of the bar will not be accurate by the time you get to your last pass. So I always give myself a bit of wiggle room and I pull it towards me 1/2 an inch to an inch. The second thing I always do is to have the safe area a good couple of inches to the left of where my quilt finishes. So I've got this probably about 1.5 inches off the side of the quilt. I never want to set the safe area so it's right along the edge of the quilt, because quilts move a lot as you're quilting them, and this can really get you into trouble further down the track. So I'm going to move it a couple of inches to the left and about 1/2 an inch to an inch towards me from the back bar. And then on the Bernina screen, I'm going to press set. It's now going to prompt me to go to the bottom right-hand corner and set that safe area. And I'm going to do exactly the same thing as what I did just then. So I'll move the machine gently. all the way across to the right hand seam, all the way down until I can't pull it any further towards myself. And then I'm going to push it back 1/2 inch to 1 inch for the very same reason as I did in the top left-hand corner. As that quilt grows, you won't have as much room on the back bar. And then I know I've got 1.5 inches to a couple of inches clearance there. And so once again, we can go back up to the screen and we can press set. Back to the Qmatic screen now. Once you've confirmed both of those points, you'll see the safe area displayed on the screen as a boundary box. Now that is this red box that you can see here. This cross tells you currently where the machine head is sitting. And this larger box is the size of your quilt. Now I haven't set the quilt size yet. That's why it thinks the quilt is much bigger than the boundary box. Next, I'm going to head up here to quilt size. If you don't have the words, quilt size will look like height and width. Hit quilt size. It defaults to 60 by 60, but this quilt, or piece of scrap fabric I've just loaded on, is more like 40 by 40. So I'm going to set the quilt size and hit the green button to say OK. And this is perfect. What you can see now is that our safe area, here it is outside the size of our quilt. If the safe area boundary is sitting on the same line as your quilt or smaller than it, your safe area is too tight and you need to redo it. The most common mistake I see in this step is setting the safe area too close to the edge of the quilt. Give yourself a good couple of inches all the way around. What looks perfectly aligned when you first load the quilt can shift dramatically by the end, depending on the density of your quilting and the straightness of your quilt. Each time you advance the quilt, you'll be trimming the edge of that digital design anyway. I'll cover that in a different video. So by giving yourself that wiggle room, you're just protecting yourself from potential headaches down the track. Okay, so that's your safe area set. You're now ready to start working with digital designs in the Qmatic. And that's exactly what the next video in the series will cover. How to get a digital pantograph onto the screen and place it where you want it to go. Be sure to subscribe so you'll know when that one's released. Any questions, pop them below in the comments. I'd love to help you out. Happy quilting.